the most recent chapters of Fairy Tail, with Ferris the Black Wizard showing up, with brand new demons showing up that are now the Arachnoid sex demons from the books of Ferris, we have big things going on in the horizon for 100 Years Quest. But something that a lot of people kind of want and might actually happen is E.N.D. Natsu showing up at some point in this story, especially now with what we got at this moment. But here's the thing. We will get him, but in a way that I don't think many of us were expecting. And Lucy is most definitely the key, because I think Lucy at this point now, despite the book disappearing, is the owner of the Book of E.N.D. I'll explain my reasonings in a bit, but before we jump into the video, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps and shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel, and it shows you want to see more. Also, I'm partnered with Advanced GG, so if you want to get 10% off your next order for an energy supplement that'll help maintain your focus while exercising, gaming, editing, or just doing daily stuff, go check out the link in the description down below. Now with that out of the way, let's jump right into things. Now, the first thing you might ask is, how is Lucy the owner of the Book of E.N.D.? The Book of E.N.D. at the end of Fairy Tail disappeared. And to that, you are correct. However, that doesn't change the fact that Lucy herself had to rewrite multiple instances of the Book of E.N.D. towards the end of the fight with Zeref. Because, as we remember, when Natsu was fighting Zeref, Lucy peeked into the Book of E.N.D. And when Natsu got dealt a killing blow by Zeref, Lucy, in order to replace all of the broken and disappearing parts of Natsu's Book of E.N.D., she had to rewrite certain aspects of it and even write in certain things herself. She even stated that she wrote in memories about Natsu, everyone's memories of the Natsu that they know and love, and placed that into the Book of E.N.D. Rewrote and replaced certain aspects of it to the point where it wasn't the original Book of E.N.D. And it was also stated that there is body link magic placed within the Book of E.N.D. to the highest degree. For one, that the book and Natsu were linked, but also the fact that the book itself was linked to Zeref. If Zeref died, the book would disappear and Natsu would in fact disappear as well. But due to Lucy's tamperings, Natsu was not killed by the Book of E.N.D. disappearing and Zeref disappearing. Through Lucy basically implementing parts of her own soul and life force into this in order to rewrite things, while also being burnt and eroded by the black magic of the book and Natsu's demonic flames from within the book, this would have most likely imprinted part of Lucy into not just Natsu, but the Book of E.N.D. due to the link between them. Now, I've stated the fact that Natsu, while no longer having the demon seed and full-on true connection to the physical Book of E.N.D., he most certainly still has the powers of E.N.D. dormant within him, due to the fact that Natsu still has his Dragon Slayer magic and the fact that he is now not a dragon. Meaning that the E.N.D. portion of him is still within Natsu, just relatively separate from the book, so that Natsu could have lived on past Zeref. And the only reason that was possible was because of Lucy rewriting the very core aspects of the Book of E.N.D., allowing Natsu to stay alive and to not perish with Zeref, as I just mentioned. And with this link that Lucy had to do while having her body eroded and burned, as we see in multiple instances with the fight of Zeref where she was rewriting things, Lucy would have been linked to the book and to Natsu as a whole throughout that instance. And with that tampering, she, as somebody writing and replacing things within the Book of E.N.D., most likely became the new owner of E.N.D. and the context of the Book of E.N.D., thus giving her a direct connection to Natsu and his demonic powers. Also, just want to say this, it's because of Gray that Lucy didn't die due to his Ice Devil magic, which kept the demonic flames of E.N.D. from burning her to a crisp and potentially killing her as she tried to rewrite things. So just wanted to add that in as the reason why Lucy did not fully die and thus ended up surviving thanks to Gray. Now you can say, okay, despite everything I just said, the book itself is gone and Natsu has never really shown any signs of becoming E.N.D. again, right? So the idea of Lucy being the owner of E.N.D. doesn't really seem plausible. And that, I say, fair point, but with 100 Years Quest, we've had two instances that on the surface might just seem coincidental, but might actually be alluding to Lucy's connection to E.N.D., the Book of E.N.D. as well. As I'm going to be getting into more 100 Years Quest spoilers, but at the end of the Mercphobia arc, when we saw Ignia show up and use his blazing flames that Natsu had to eat to have enough power to defeat Mercphobia, Natsu's flames were raging out of control. He was going ballistic. But with how the flames were drawn and presented, they seemed eerily similar to how Natsu's flames looked like when he was in his E.N.D. form. Natsu was burning everything in sight and going ballistic, almost like he did when he became E.N.D. And the person to slowly calm him down and to bring him back to his senses was Lucy. Now, obviously, you can do it for the fact that they have a deep emotional connection. That was a part of it. But considering that Lucy was also the person that rewrote the book of E.N.D. and made it so that Natsu was more human and had their memories of Natsu and kept him separate from dying from Zeref, her being the owner would also give her a chance to keep Natsu's demon side tangled up and not going out of control. Which is why, despite her getting burned by Natsu's flames, she was able to calm him down and reach him, making it a lot more possible with the fact that she had a connection with the Book of E.N.D. and rewrote core aspects of it, and essentially replacing and fixing core parts of Natsu as a whole. And what backs this evidence up as well was more recently with the Black Wizard Ferris showing up in the current arc of the manga, as when she showed up, they felt this intense dark pillar of magic. They felt it. But the only person, despite everyone's connection to like Zeref and witnessing their powers to certain extents, especially Gray, the only person that realized that this was black magic was Lucy. Now, Gray himself fought Zeref. He fought demons of the Book of Zeref. Same with basically Urza and Wendy. They could have potentially sensed something. They faced stuff from Zeref before. They felt black magic most likely before, especially Gray when he fought Zeref for a brief moment of time and trying to seal him in the lost iced shell, and when Natsu became E.N.D. for a brief transitionary period. But Lucy sensing this makes sense because she had to actively be engulfed and burnt by demonic flames and the black magic that comprised the Book of E.N.D. Something that was a core to Zeref, something that was part of Zeref, the Black Wizard who used black magic. And so her having to rewrite it gave her a deeper connection and feelings towards the black magic and how it felt to basically be in the presence of such dark power. And when Ferris showed up, Lucy was the only person that sensed it was black magic. Nobody else noticed this. Not even the literal Devil Slayer with magic that was supposed to be a core aspect to fighting against demons and was very useful against demons of the Book of Zeref. So when you take into account how Lucy essentially rewrote the Book of E.N.D., having felt black magic from a new black wizard, even though it's not Zeref, having been the reason that Natsu is still alive today, overcoming the flames of Natsu's demonic power, and using her memories and power to rewrite aspects of Natsu, it only makes sense that even with the book physically gone, that connection between E.N.D. and Lucy is still there. That connection with Natsu is still there, making her essentially the new owner of the Book of E.N.D. And with the fact that she also calmed a version of Natsu down that was incredibly ballistic and looked a lot like his E.N.D. transitionary form, while not exact, it stands to reason that Lucy could be the key to keeping Natsu's demon powers in check, but also the key to unleashing them if the time comes. Perhaps if she were to pseudo-die, or in an instance where she might even herself realize that she has a connection to Natsu's demon portion and will have to unleash it in a last-ditch effort to help Natsu out. I don't think that might happen, but it's still very possible. And her having a connection with the Book of E.N.D. and Natsu makes a lot of sense. Even though we have a bit of evidence towards it, it would still be a very interesting way for Mashima to implement E.N.D. back into the story, and having Natsu re-emerge as E.N.D. makes sense and would fit in the current progress of the story in 100 Years Quest for Natsu to gain his E.N.D. powers and utilize them. And that would only be possible if the current owner of E.N.D. potentially allows it. So yeah, I know this was a lot of picking at things and bringing things together, but I do really believe that Lucy at this point is technically the owner of the Book of E.N.D. Even if the physical book is not around, that connection, that part of her soul, was the reason Natsu was still alive and did not die when Zeref died. And so that connection to Natsu and even his demon powers is still there. And with the evidence that Natsu still has his Dragon Slayer powers, with the Dragon Seed gone, and with the Demon Seed gone, and the Book of E.N.D gone, but with Ignia's Flame seemingly giving Natsu a state similar to that of his E.N.D powers, Lucy keeping him in reins, and her being the only person to notice black magic in that entire group in the most recent chapters, I feel like that's enough evidence to give us the idea that she is connected to E.N.D and is the new owner of the Book of E.N.D. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know this is more of a speculatory thing with just a fair bit of little bits of evidence, but I think it was just enough to really come to this inevitable conclusion. And I do think it would be fitting if Lucy was the new owner of E.N.D and had the key to bringing out Natsu's E.N.D form. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below. Do you agree with this take? Do you think this is possible? And if there are other pieces of evidence in 100 Years Quest and even the end of Fairy Tail that would help support this theory, let me know in the comment section down below as well. And before we head out, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps, and it shows you guys enjoy the content I'm making on the channel and shows you want to see more. And with all that said and done, I hope you all have an awesome day.